podcasts over at wildgamesproductions.com and d20radio.com.
They came from the game table, dice bags in hand.
We have one brain that we share between us.
To talk about role-playing for all across the land.
And you'll like it.
The original, then basic, then one they scoured.
Kinda grabs you by the boo-boo, don't it?
To bring AD&D to the second power.
You want me to put the hammer down?
Welcome to THACO's Hammer, the best damn AD&D 2nd edition podcast ever.
She was called a tripod?
No, I said he was our heavy gun.
Well, I thought you said she was. I was like, eesh.
Yeah. That put me right off my dinner. Hi, folks. THACO's Hammer Splat Book number 72, if we ever get it off the ground. And I'm DM Glen. Hello. And DM Brian over here talking about tripods. No. End it. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, let's just stop it right here.
How are you?
We have a show to do.
Okay.
What? The aliens from War of the Worlds? Yes, indeed. No, we're doing something stranger.
Yes, you've heard. Yes. DM Full On Gamer right over there in the corner.
Greetings, Gamer Nation. The ninja is in for the moment.
And Corey in the corner going, tripod.
Whoa. What's going on, everybody? It's me. I'm back.
Oh, man. As you can tell, we're a little off, or I smell a little off anyway. And we're going to talk all about the Drow. Oh, boy. So let's get into hits and crits right away.
What are you doing tonight? I don't know. What are you doing tonight? The burlesque, Louis' Paradise, miserable and lonely and stupid. What am I, crazy or something? I got something good here. What am I hanging around with you guys for?
Hits and crits.
Hits, crits. What do you guys did on this week? Anybody, anything? Go.
I continued leveling up my Sweator Smuggler, and last week I actually got to get in a bit of the Bounty Hunter Week, the new thing they've added in the latest update.
Right on. What's that?
Everybody gets to be a bounty hunter.
Really?
Yes, if you want to.
That almost sounds fun.
Got named Jack Job.
And that's Tor, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's funny you called it that. It sounded like he said sweater smuggler.
Sweator, yes.
I was like, sweater smuggler. I'm like, what? All right.
So have you, Full On, have you tried that Marvel Alliance game yet?
I got the PC version for my wife. We were not very impressed.
Really? I thought it'd be a nice replacement for like City of Heroes or something.
No.
Really?
City Heroes is its own thing. It should still be online. Bastards!
Okay. Well, they all want you to go over to Champions Online, I think. Anyway, what are you going to do? Hey, yeah. I found Axe Cop on Champions Online. Somebody made Axe Cop. It was cool. Anyway.
I'll be finding for every super game system these days.
Probably. Hey, Brian, what you been doing?
Not a whole lot. Just preparing for a third person to be staying with my girlfriend and I temporarily, and that means
another gamer.
No. I wish. Believe me, I wish.
Is it her mother, you said?
Yes. The erstwhile mother-in-law is coming to stay with us for a little while.
Well, why don't you teach her?
See, you have to understand something. I could tell you why that's a bad idea, but this podcast goes out over the internet. I don't want to have to deal with the aftermath and the fallout.
So this is the kind of thing, it's like one of those two different worlds things?
Kind of, sort of.
I understand.
Back in my day.
I wouldn't teach my mother either, so I understand.
Oh, God. I don't even want to talk about my mom, but may she rest in peace. But yeah, D&D was a major.
Look, take her over to the Save or Die people, get her introduced into Basic, and see how it goes.
Oh yeah. How about you?
It won't go well.
It won't go.
I'd be a cleric of Jesus.
Hey, it works. My wife was a cleric the one time she played. Yeah. So what you been up to, Corey?
Hey, what's going on, Glenn? I've been a little busy there, buddy. Been rearranging my whole entire house, cleaning and vacuuming and carpet cleaning, rearranged the entire gaming room. Went through and got rid of a lot of extraneous crap that was just building up and had to increase the Wall of the Dead. And that's a different story for another time.
Yeah.
Put up some new pictures. A buddy of mine helped me print out on his giant printer, and got a nice copy of Complete Book of Necromancer in treat for some tattoo work. I've been doing tattoos at the bottle, not literally, just that was a figurative speech.
Today, Corey is a man.
Yeah. I have a book of yours, and it shall begin the dark descent. My campaign has gotten darker already.
That's what tends to happen when you start using that supplement.
I can understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been gaming or anything?
No, last weekend everybody decided they had other things to do, and I had a date, so everybody was just like, okay, we go on our own separate ways and come back and nerd in 2 weeks. Ready, break.
Cool.
So,
that's a good thing once in a while.
How about you there, Glenn? What you been doing?
Oh, let's see. I bought some stuff. I just got G-Core, which is a Marvel face rip clone, where they did away with the table. I can hardly wait to see what they're going to do. Speaking of which, I also found a copy of Marvel Advanced at Half Price Books for $20, which I snapped up immediately. And it had the cards in it with the characters and the dice.
Yes.
And the map. And
which is a find.
Yes. Also, I bought from a third party online, Runes of Undermountain 2.
Mm-hmm.
Which was a find. I think I paid about $16 for that. That was a pretty good deal.
Not bad.
Now, if anybody out there has a reasonably priced copy of Skullport, that would be even better. You know.
Wait, the softback book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to me after the show, young man.
Yes, sir.
You see?
Yes.
See how that works out?
I happen to have 3.
Ooh.
You have 3 copies of Skullport, really?
Now,
I get everything in triplicate.
Now, was there anything with that book? It was just a book, right? There was no map.
Yeah.
No, it was just a book.
Nope,
okay, good.
Book.
Because that, to me, that's the most fascinating part of Undermountain for me. Is I could
the
do
big
like
maps.
No, the Skullport.
Oh, yes.
I'd love to just run a campaign in and around Skullport with pirates and floating skulls and all this weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, the D&D version of Mos Eisley Spaceport.
Pretty much.
Meet what's that turtle called? The island that Jack Sparrow goes to. Yeah, that's what it reminds me of, that port.
Okay, let's see. Gaming wise, we had our D&D game, Labyrinth Lord. It's going well. I've already lost my first character. Horace P. Garvin of Cedar Swamp is no more because he got hit with friendly fire when he decided to stand on the other gnome's shoulders to fire his light crossbow, and somebody behind him saying, I can get to that hobgoblin. No, you hit me in the back.
Nice.
Unbelievable.
So now I am playing, what's his name? I can't remember. Herman Punchstein III.
Herman Punchstein.
Yes,
okay.
He has. See, Odinist's world is
a long line of Punchsteins.
Yes, the third. He is his world is very Warhammer fantasy roleplay influenced, but also his heritage is like German and Norse. So I decided to go with it in a big way, and I rolled up a character that's a mage. He has 18 strength and 18 int.
Interesting.
And so I made him like coming from this family from Punchstein, who his father is the Duke, the Baron of Punchstein, and he's like the second son, and he's very Prussian. Very, very Prussian. Very, right. And all he had was read magic because he's a first level character, and this other gnome is always like, well, I got magic missile, you want this? He pulls the scroll out, and he goes, I must have this spell! And so
boy.
And so I took my character sheet and went on Google Translate and translated all the spell names to German.
Nice.
Oh wow.
That's taking your character the extra step. That's all. You get extra XP from me for that. That's awesome.
You know, he cast magic missile the first time. What did he say? He's Luftwaffen, boom. You know.
Very nice.
It's a lot of fun. And my TNT game went well. I found out what I was doing wrong. They were doing god-awful amounts of damage, and I had to roll, like, not just buckets, but more like a gallon jug of D6s. And they have exploding dice in TNT, but it's only for the saving rolls. I was doing it for the hits and the damage.
Wow. Oops. That's just wow.
Well, you add and in TNT, the group tends to fight en masse. Mm-hmm. Because they'll all do their rolls and give them to one character who'd add them up. Says, okay, we did this. What does the monsters do? And then you compare them, and whoever gets the higher number wins, and the difference is the damage. Mm-hmm. I finally had to pump up a giant spider to 250 in order to get a fair fight out of those guys. Something to be taken out in 2 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, yeah. See that? Yeah, that's the whole thing about it. You still have to worry about the numbers game. Sorry, bad reference. I meant just more than one opponent, maybe even, one per each, if it's like that. Mm-hmm. If it's like, if it's that kind of system. There's a reason why I stuck with D&D.
No, it's a good system, but now
I agree.
I understand now how it works. You do not explode the dice when you're doing hits and damage. On saving rolls, you do. On damage and hits, you don't. Got it. This will change the playing field considerably.
Well, that's the whole thing. You got it. Figured it out.
Yes.
They just did a little trial and error.
On Facebook, and they cried. So.
Oh well, they'll just
learning new game systems always have that learning curve.
And okay, that's me. So we got any emails?
Yes, we do. We've got plenty of emails.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Hold on. My fingers are to my forehead, and I'm reaching out to the ether. I am sensing we have an email from DM Kojo.
Yes, we do.
I will be here, folks, all week. I will be here all week.
Thank you.
Dion Warwick ain't got nothing on you.
Finger to forehead, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, somewhere.
Yeah, more like palm to forehead. But anyway, okay. But first, before we get to Kojo's email, we have a returning emailer to our show.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, Revenge of the Friend.
Yeah, our friend across the pond. DM Brady. He has finally returned.
Yay.
Okay. He says, "Greetings, Hammerites from merry old England. I'm back." He says,
Swim.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got 2,000 miles. Pace yourself. Wow, I can't believe it's taken me over a year to write in again. Please forgive my tardiness, as despite my silence, I've remained a stalwart supporter of the show. Okay, since that's the first thing he said, we'll grant him forgiveness. You are forgiven, my son. However, I do feel I owe you all an explanation for my absence, and the short answer is I've been far too busy to put finger to keyboard. You see, oh man, this is kind of a bummer. After a 3-year fight, my father finally lost his battle with cancer and passed away last October.
Sorry to hear that.
Yes, our condolences. At the same time, my beautiful, darling wife was expecting our first child, Freya. Our gorgeous baby girl was born in April this year, and
Did she come out with a pair of D20s in her hand?
I was going to say something else. I'm glad you said that. And said yes.
Hurting in there. Anyway.
I know. And yes, we named her after the Norse goddess. Well,
nice.
Okay. Brady, I'm going to take a little time out for a second here and say you are in some deep trouble once she reaches puberty, and I will leave it at that. So as you can see, it's been a real emotional roller coaster, as well as exhausting sorting out my father's estate and dealing with a newborn. Anyway,
you just got to get her to introduce her to Will Smith, and everything's good.
Oh God. I'm not even going there.
That was a Hancock reference.
I know. I'm not going there.
Anyways, continue.
Okay. Anyway, I'm back, and I fully intend to regularly, English, Brian, share my thought podcast as well as ask the odd question. To this end, I will endeavor to keep future emails short and sweet, but as this is first in a long while, please indulge me a little. Okay, you twisted our arm. As you may recall, I am running a Dragonlance campaign, specifically that old railroad, and he winked at you, Glenn, the War of the Lance. And I must say that even in spite of a 3-month hiatus after Freya's birth, it's going brilliantly. All my players are having a great time and really enjoying themselves, but more on that in another email. Now, as a DM, I don't give out many magic weapons, as I've always loathed the idea of PCs running around with a golf bag of magic swords, etc. for every occasion. Instead, and totally independent of all knowledge of the 3.5 book Weapons of Legacy or other internet articles on the matter, I decided to create weapons that grow with the PC as he gains experience and performs more heroic acts. You know what? There needs to be more magic items like that.
Yeah.
I'll tell about that after I'm done with the email. The rationale being that magical weapons are not always forged, but are imbued with powers by the many heroes of legend who wielded them. Here's an example of one of the magic items I created for my campaign. Let's see. It's called Heartseeker. This heavy crossbow is of the highest dwarven craftsmanship, originally commissioned by the Dunthrall, the first king of Dunador, as a reward for one of his peasants who had saved him from a marauding forest troll. Since then, the weapon has always been awarded to the worthiest of the realm's champions. The powers, initially, the Heartseeker appears to be one of the lowliest of magic weapons, bestowing a +1 to hit bonus to hit rolls and damage. However, provide the wielders of good alignment. As the warrior grows in experience and heroism, so the weapon grows in powers and its secrets are revealed. At first, 3rd level, it acts as a +1 magic weapon. Once the wielder reaches 4th level, or if the wielder's already between 4th and 8th level, the bonus increases to +2 to hit and +1 to damage. Mm-hmm. At 5th level, Heartseeker bestows improvision 30 feet when aiming. That actually helps. 9th level up, it's at +3 to hit, +2 damage. And if the wielder can discover the secret command, Heartseeker can cast Flame Arrow once per day as though cast by a 5th level mage. The bolt inflicts 1 to 6 points of piercing damage plus 4d6 fire damage. Let's see. Every 5 levels he gains an extra fire arrow bolt, if you will. In order to keep track of the items, I created 3x5 index card for each item, including established items such as Staff of Mission, include a charge tracker for those items that use them. So until next time, Excelsior, DM Brady. Now he's got postscripts. P.S. Glenn, I don't mean to hassle, as I know you're a busy chap too, but am I ever... Well, never mind.
What?
He's asking after his prize, Corey. He's asking after his
I'm
prize.
married, thank you. No.
Oh, wait, is that the Brady that I just sent books to?
Yes, it is.
Brady, your books are on your way, bro.
Yeah.
They're already out and shipped, and there's some presents in the front.
Yeah.
Oh, did you load him up?
For your mail, yeah.
Oh, I loaded them up.
You hooked him up? Good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
He deserves, what, 2 years since the convention they handed him off?
Wow. Yeah, they're on their way. I sent all 4 books out to all 3 people that they were being shipped to.
Okay. Postscript. As far as I'm aware, Crown Royal, God, I cannot talk tonight. Crown Royal is not available in the UK, so if you have a spare CR bag, I'd love to own one, as after all, it is the official dice bag of the OSR.
Thank you.
What? You do not have one?
No, they don't sell Crown Royal in the UK.
Damn it! This must be
rectified. I'll handle that. I'll handle that.
Sure, I have 15 of them or so behind the bar.
Yeah. Okay.
I was gonna say, yeah, come to the North Texas RPG Con. I'll give you some.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a little way to get them there.
Yeah. So, to his point about magic items that sort of scale up as the character increases in level, the only time I've ever seen, or I've actually had one of those, but it was in a 3E game, and it was a sword that did ice damage, and if you rolled a critical hit, the tip actually broke off in your opponent, and it would continually inflict cold damage. I think as you went up in level, the cold damage actually increased along with it.
Did you have to, did it slowly inch towards his heart, and he had to get, an electromagnet put in his chest?
Wow.
No, he was a halfling and had to go retire with the elves.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah, the wound just never heals. Some hurts just run too deep.
I am Lord Tony Stark. Anyway.
Go ahead.
Tony of Stark, yeah.
But no, for me, I've tried doing leveling weapons and weapons that leveled and rose and or fell depending on how virtuous, valorous, or powerful the players have gotten. It's a lot more. It's a lot more for the DM, especially for me because I got 6 guys at the table. Other than that, a lot of my players that are vets that have been playing since first edition, who've been playing with me for 6+ years, 8+ years, they've actually recently come up to me and they're like, we really like your magic items that you create, and they're really ingenious and inventive. Uh-huh. But sometimes, we just like to see a classic Dungeon Master's Guide magic item. They're like, you make awesome wands of chromatic orbs, and you make awesome magic items, but they're like, we just like to see like a staff of snakes, or like the rod of lordly might, or just something out of the book that hasn't been touched or altered. So, as far as Brady's thing, I think it's a great idea. I like the idea of doing that with weapons and making them more personal. But, I've got guys that just essentially go, +1 sword. Let's move on. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, okay, well, you're not going to be happy with that, so I got to make something different up.
Yeah. Okay. What I gotta know. Corey, have you made a wand of chromatic orbs for your game?
Oh my God, yeah. There was 2 of them in a belt in holsters. I actually left them in a tavern up in an inn in one of the rooms that they broke into, and they left them there. I'm like, wow. You see, the guy's not in his room, the guy's not in his bed. He has some sort of leather belt attached to the headboard, and it looks like 2 small leather, either scabbards or sheath. They're very thin and very small, and there's 2 small, what looks like ironwood sticks in the holsters.
Wow.
And they're like, I don't know what that is. Let's keep going. Did he go out the window? No. Okay, let's go downstairs and go out the back alley. I'm like, wait, really?
Yeah, that's the funny part about that's the funny part about players. Unless you like leave it out in the open with a neon sign over it saying, "Take this treasure," there's a very good chance they'll just pass right over it.
Yeah.
You're
right.
But yeah, it is. In the end, it's okay because more often than not, they will find a creative way to use it that will do nothing but frustrate you as a DM before long.
Oh Lord.
108.
Okay. Well, thanks for the question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks, Brady.
Yeah, thanks, Brady.
Books are on their way. Keep emailing us. We appreciate the emails.
Yep.
Yeah. If they don't get there, email us some more.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Sort of email for. We're not bribing him. No. What else?
No, not at all.
No, not at all. What else we got, Brian?
Okay, let's see. Where
Another
is
email.
that? Another email. Let's see.
Let's do. Am I sensing?
Actually, I'm wrong. I messed up. Kojo did not email us. That's my fault.
But he gave us a nice shout out. He did a nice shout out for the last show on OSRgaming.org, and he praised Matt Odinist's new module, The Minds of Valdoom, which is on RPG now, and Drive-Thru RPG for a very reasonable price. He said he loved it. He thought it was very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Kojo.
Okay, we have another one from Brady. We're going to save that for next episode because that one's pretty long. Let's see. Oh, jeez. Oh, here we go.
In my hiding hole.
Okay, we have one from Bryant Hudson. Okay. Hello, Bryant. And he says, hello.
Hi,
yes, hi, Bryant.
Hi, Bryant.
With a T, as in Kobe Bryant.
I was saying hi to you.
Oh, stop it. Oh, man. Have you been drinking again?
Anyway. A little. I got to relax a little bit.
I thought so.
I am the Dean Martin of this show.
Then I'm Sammy Davis, but both my eyes work.
If he was here, he'd be going out with Matt anyway. So Anyway.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. He says, Bryant with a T. He says, hello, I've continued to listen to episode after episode. I really enjoy the topics.
Mm-hmm.
No offense to anyone else, but I'm so envy of DM Corey's campaign. He sounds like the DM I would love to play for. Bryant, never mind. I'll finish. I hope his players appreciate what they have. Apparently not lately. Sadly, I've mostly read accessories, modules, novels during most of the years of interest in AD&D and rarely have been able to actually play. Maybe I've missed it, but I would love to hear a snipe hunt, if not an entire episode dedicated to the Beholder. Didn't we do a snipe hunt on the Beholder, guys? Hold on. Let me check.
I'm looking. Go ahead, keep reading out. Okay. I'm looking.
You got it? Okay. All right. He says, I feel like the Beholder is one of AD&D's most iconic monsters, right behind the dragon and a few others. I have always loved the cover art of FR1 Waterdeep in the North. Yeah, that is one of the coolest ones.
That is, I'm still looking for a copy of that, yeah.
You can have mine. I'll give it to you.
I had one at one time, long time ago, and...
Mm-hmm.
Holy Tenari, Spankin, and Asimar. We have not done the Beholder on a snipe hunt.
I could have sworn
really?
We did it. Well, we'll have to fix that in post haste because he's right. It's one of the more iconic monsters. To continue, also I've always enjoyed their mention in novels like Crown of Fire, where they assist Manchun when they take on Elminster, or when you face them in PC games like Baldur's Gate 2 Shadows. Yeah. And I'll also throw in Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. That's like the first boss actually the second boss monster you fight.
Yep.
Here's a folder. Thanks, Bryant Hudson.
Thank you, Bryant.
Yes, we're definitely gonna have to rectify that. I'm trying to figure out how we missed it.
I'm putting it on right now.
Wrecked him and killed him. Anyway, flashback there.
Richard Pryor routine. Let's see.
So we'll get that on soon.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Do we have one more?
Yes, we've got one more. Hang in.
Okay.
Just checking them out. Okay, here's one. This is from Mark McElroy.
Go for it.
Okay, he says, greetings, gentlemen. Well, thank you for reading my email on podcast number 69. It was cool to hear it. I didn't realize at the time that I sent it that it was so long. And thanks for the great input on the question I asked. Always curious about how people handle that situation at higher levels. Now, give me a moment. I'm going to have to go back and refer to that because I can't remember what it was that we talked about. But since I have my show notes open here, talking about character origins and politically based campaigns.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. I just had to remember what he was talking about. To continue. My THACO's Hammer addiction is coming along splendidly. I'm into the 50s on your episode catalog now, almost caught up to the current ones.
Wow.
I think I'm going to go into a draw when that happens, actually having to wait a couple weeks for a new one instead of just punching up the next episode on iTunes. What can I say? I got a fever, and the only thing that can cure it is more THACO's Hammer. Yeah. I cannot
what a coincidence.
I cannot do
We're infectious.
Yes.
Exactly. Let's see.
I know if we keep this up, we'll be wearing solid gold diapers. So.
Yeah. Brian, you mentioned a little house rule table for experience you give out for role playing. If you have it handy, I'd love to take a look at it. Thanks again, guys, and keep up the good work. Mark in Las Vegas.
Mark, I hate you. You're in Las Vegas. No, actually, thank you, Mark, for the email. We love our fans everywhere. But I'm not in Las Vegas, so I'm going to pout. Anyway, so I'm also not in New Mexico or California, and I can pout over that too. So, what was the question?
No, he was asking after some. I think I sent it to him. I'll have to check it. We do have. Can we do one more? Because this one I think you guys will appreciate.
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
A couple of levels.
Mark, check. Don't you have that posted on OSR Gaming?
What's that?
What he was referring to, your experience thing.
Oh, the thing. You know what? I should post that on OSR Gaming.
All right, we'll get it up there.
I'll do that after we finish the show.
OSRgaming.org, and it'll be in one of the files sub forums. Anyway, You want to do one more?
Okay, yeah, one more. This is from DRM. I think you call him. Oh, never mind. It's Doc My Wipe. Jeez, that guy.
That guy. He's like, oh, that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
I play with him every other Tuesday on Skype with Mike and
yeah, you know him quite well. Okay, he says, "Dear Hammering Tacos, I'm sitting here."
Is he running this through Google Translate?
No, he's not.
Okay.
That's the funny part.
I like that, Hammering Tacos.
Either that or it was a voicemail. You're just reading the Google Voice Translate.
No, I wish. So, sometimes I wish I could, but it would make absolutely no sense. He says, "I'm sitting here at my forge in between my work as a taco smith. Yes, I'm making tacos for a living. It's hard work, but someone has to do it." Yeah, that's his sense of humor. He says, let's see. He has an observation about second edition. "I feel the system is a very beautifully done piece of art. With that, I mean you can use it without any options from even the player's handbook nor the DMG, kind of like I do in my mix and match game Wednesdays, roughly 3 p.m. your time to 8 p.m. my time. Or you can go all out and use every optional rule ever created with the Shutter player's options books." Kind of like Brian and the Hammer of the Duchess, pun intended. Well, now wait. Well, I don't use them all, but I'll let that go. The beauty. Now see, I'm sorry, I didn't read this part. He's giving me he's shining me up a little bit. I swear I didn't know.
Yeah, he wanted to read an extra one, didn't he, Glenn?
I swear. Yeah. I swear. I will swear on whatever holy writ you want to put in front of me that I
just read. Know. Go ahead, Captain Ego. I mean, go ahead, Brian.
Oh, man, come on. Jeez. He says, "UD and Brian Sir and I are still playing the same game and still listening to both styles. You can clearly hear it's the same game system. We just emphasize on different things. That, I feel, is the very beauty of second edition. You can make it feel like Classic, BX, or the Beckme, or you can make it feel more akin to that silly game from, and he had to correct himself, Wizards of the Coast with Ascending AC, by utilizing the player options books, and obviously anything in between. I've personally never liked players options. I bought the first book. Was that Combat and Tactics? No, it was Skills and Powers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Skills and Powers kind of turned a lot of people off.
Yep.
And was so unimpressed with the whole thing that I didn't get the other two. Now see, if you had stuck with it and gotten Combat and Tactics and Spells and Magic, you probably would have changed your mind. I used to have the DM's Options high-level campaign supplement, which I love to pieces, literally. That's funny. He's like one of the few people I know of that actually likes that supplement.
Which one was it?
High-level campaigns. It was the last one.
Oh, yeah, the DM thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not
let's see. He says one thing, and too bad he's not here to listen. Ladies and gentlemen, Full-On had to duck out. We're expecting him back literally any minute.
Soon.
Yeah, soon. Hopefully within the next, 10 minutes. And one thing, Full-On Gamer, you are hereby proven wrong with 3 exclamation points.
Ooh.
One combat turn is by the book, roughly 1 minute. Now, I'll take my exception with that.
We must pass this on when he shows up again.
Yes, I'll bring him up to speed on that. I'll keep it open. One turn is not simply my turn, your turn event, as explained better in the first edition player's handbook. It's a series of thrusts, parries, dodges, attacks, feints, and so forth, and the actual die roll is simply the culmination of all these things.
Did he just Daffy Duck Robin Hood it, really?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did.
That's epic.
Wow. Only thing was missing, he hit himself in the face with the quarterstaff. It might be hard to... Oh, God, here we go. Oh, this is where it comes from. It might be hard to accept that a silly Norwegian is right, even though he does live in the mythical kingdom of sunny Manchester, England. However, Full-On, as much as I love your insight in this podcast, you are wrong!
Nice.
And you are thinking of real combat instead of the highly simplified, unrealistic, and highly abstracted version found in D&D. I hereby refer you to the page 91 of the Player's Handbook. You know what? Well, I'm not telling Full-On this, because, yeah. this might just take up whatever time left we have for the show when he comes back. But I will say this. he's right in that in the first books, like Player's Handbook and the DNG. That's how they describe the combat round. And my whole thing is that with like combat and tactics, it's an optional rule to actually bring that down to, I think, 10 seconds, and everything in that combat round occurs within those 10 seconds. Spells cast, attacks, defenses, all this other stuff. Personally, I never did like the idea of a 1-minute combat round because I'm sorry, if you had a protracted combat with something, and you're fighting literally to save your life and whatnot, by the end of it, you'd be wiped out and you'd have to spend at least a couple of turns resting before you actually got on with the actual adventure, be it a dungeon delve or what have you. So, anyway, I'll leave that alone. And he says, now I'll step away from the combat round and return to hammering tacos out for the Taco Bell restaurants. Spelled THACO, of course. Love your show, Doc Mindwipe.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you, Doc, and tell him to bring back the Frito burrito, please.
Yeah, and thanks for feeding Brian's ego. Thanks, I appreciate that.
Oh, whatever.
It
wasn't like that.
Well, soap my rope. It wasn't all that bad.
No, it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Thank goodness.
And that is the emails, folks. If you want to send us something, and Brian can feed read them on the show, it is thacoshammer@gmail.com.
Correct. And we have a phone number.
The phone number for the voicemail is 405-806-0555.
Which spells 405 Brian's ego. So.
Wow. I guess I'm just going to have to wear it this episode. Whatever.
Looks good on you. It looks good. It's you.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Let's go on to people's skills.
The face is familiar.
It's mine.
And so it is.
Oh, yes, of course. It stands out a mile, doesn't it? He's so common.
A little lady comes in here and starts throwing her butt around. What is that supposed to do?
All right, forget I said anything.
Maybe I will.
Well, that's pretty good.
Then don't tell me you weren't looking at it.
Well, that's not half bad.
She's giving it right back to you.
People skills.
People skills. People. The drow.
Yes.
Yes, the mighty drow episode.
Mm-hmm. The other elf.
Yeah. You were about to say the other dark meat. What?
Ooh, meat.
That's hot.
Hey, most of those drow female clerics are pretty hot, although I'd never want to have.
Yeah.
When it comes to elves, once you go black, you're enslaved in a Rothi pen for the rest of your life.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you can stop right there.
The internet is full of men who think Klingon women are hot, so I'm not.
If you can survive it.
Yeah.
If you can survive it.
That's true.
But okay. Now, as we all know, and as most of us have in our gaming experience, we've all used the drow as opponents for your party.
As bait. Opponents.
Yeah, it's bait for, whatever's worse that's behind.
Why don't we explain what a drow is for the neophytes out there?
I think I will.
Go right ahead, Corey.
Well, back in 1981, THACO called the Fiend Folio, and in it, on page 33, was a dark elf by the name of Drow. It was a drow elf. Mm-hmm. It says, ages past when elven folk were new to the face of the earth, not Faerun or Toril. Says Earth. Their number was torn by discord, and those of better disposition drove from them those of the elves who were selfish and cruel. However, constant warfare between the two divisions of elvenkind continued, with the goodly ones ever victorious until those of dark nature were forced to withdraw from the lands under the skies and seek safety in the realm of the underworld. They were strong enough to face and perhaps defeat their former brethren in battle. The drow no longer desired to walk upon the green lands under the sun and stars. They no longer desired a life in the upper world, being content with the gloomy fairyland beneath the earth.
They actually said gloomy fairyland.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm thinking of My Little Drow Pony all of a sudden.
Dronies? What?
My little
Don't
drony.
ruin Dark Elves. Don't ruin Dark Elves for me, please.
There's this drow pony.
Oh my God! Stop. Sorry.
Wow.
Anyways, yeah. So in 81, the TSR decided to come up with the Dark Elf, which, if I'm not mistaken, are derived from the Norse legend of the Svarties.
Yes.
Svartalfum, yes.
Not to be confused with the basic D&D Mystaran Dark Elf.
Which, by the way, if you go and see Thor 2, they will be the main villain in Thor 2.
Yes, they will be. That's going to be fun to watch. But Mystar is a whole different thing called Shadow Elves. We'll just leave that alone.
Shadow Elves, thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Later on, and thanks to such authors as Elaine Cunningham, they actually described the history of the elves and the drow and how it came to be that the drow were cast out of Elven society, which makes a better story.
And thanks.
Are we really talking about Dark Elves and you mention Elaine Cunningham and don't mention Rob?
No, I don't.
And I'll tell you.
You can mention him.
Okay.
And popularity went to insane levels because of Drizzt.
Yes.
Or as I think of him as Salvatore's bit. Never mind.
Easy. Yeah. Cash cow.
Be it. Gosh.
Yeah, it's Watsy's cash cow is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
They milk that black udder as many times as they can.
Man. Wow.
Cash cow's his middle name.
And TSR before them.
Yeah, this is true.
Well, yeah, because that was the whole thing up until 1985 Arcana came out. Drow were more or less the opponents of the PCs, and they would make the PCs wet their pants because they were in for a major fight, especially if you were hardy enough and high in level enough to adventure in the classic module Queen of the Demon Web Pits.
Oh yeah,
and the descent into Underdark and the Vault of the Drow and all that before that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then the Crystal Shard came out in I want to say 1987, maybe 88.
You're missing another singular drow being mentioned though before then.
Which was who?
Dragonlance.
Oh, Dalamar? Dalamar is as white as the driven snow. We're talking about drow. See, okay. In Dragonlance, those elves who strayed away from the path of good and who were concerned with themselves and their own power rather than elven kind in general, they were called dark elves. There were no drow in Dragonlance at all. Seriously.
He was dark elf.
They were smart.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, they were smart and, they were out for themselves like Dalamar the Dark but yeah, he looked just like almost every other elf on Krynn.
On crack. In Krynn.
On crack, stop that.
That's because he didn't get the gift from Loth. We all know that.
Yeah, something.
That's what turned him black.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, obsidian skinned. I apologize for being racially insensitive on this show. I meant obsidian skinned.
I thought it was too much Captain Morgan.
Oh, no. Me and the cat make it happen.
Oh my God. Anyway. Moving on to the Crystal Shard, and I'm looking it up right now as we're talking. That's one of the first times in actual D&D lore that a drow elf was good aligned. Now, of course, with the advent of Unearthed Arcana making the drow a PC class, of course you had precursors to Drizzt. But once that happened. Once that came out, then, just that character, and actually the funny part is that, especially in the beginning of Salvatore's, run with the character, it was a really good character, at least to me. He was always constantly fighting for acceptance, doing just massive amounts of good things, and it just never was good enough. He could never be quite accepted into society just on his own merits, but everybody was like, he's a drow, so at the very least we're going to turn him away if not try to kill him.
Yeah, I like the Rob's interview about Drizzt. He was like literally sitting there, and they're like, "Hey, we need you to write a new book, and we have a meeting about it in 30 minutes, and yes, come up with a hero, go." And they walked away. He's like, he's a drow. Yeah, genius. Go with it, run."
Yep. And in 88, the Crystal Shard came out, and it started. Now, it wasn't just Drizzt, but it was also the other characters around him that made the story as good as it was. But it was more focused on Drizzt because the second trilogy he wrote was focused exclusively. God, my English is terrible. Exclusively on Drizzt, his origins, how he came to be, what happened, how he got out of the Underdark, how he became a ranger, and blah, blah, blah. So, and it just goes on from there, and it's probably around after that second trilogy where it started to turn, and a lot of people started to turn against, Drizzt, his popularity started to actually backfire. And there's a reason for that.
Anyway, you get, I know. Anytime you as a DM get a character frothing at the mouth to play a drow blade singer, thank Drizzt.
Mm-hmm. Or a ranger with twin scimitars.
Exactly.
Yeah. But getting back to the drows at PC class, we could go into the complete book of elves, but actually, you know what? That's not a bad idea, just to give an overview. But more along the lines of the drow character is going to be, nerfed pretty heavily because, the drow as a race, they're very magic resistant. They have spell-like abilities in addition to whatever spells they may have as a spellcasting class. And, most of those abilities go away. They only keep maybe like a couple of them if they're going to be, adventuring above ground. And of course, they have a combat penalty when they're in bright light. Excuse me. And so, but yeah, drow are, they're character race that either people who like to do really intensive role playing or really intensive power gaming. That's what usually is attracted to drow. At least in my own experience as a player in DM. I mean, Corey, what do you think?
I'm biased on this entire show. You're going to need to realize that asking me my opinions on these things. Well, I agree with you that power gamers do tend to look towards the drow, the dark elves, as their viable player class, but those veterans who what do I call them? The hipster D&Ders. Oh, I like drow before liking drow was cool. Those guys that don't like the drow anymore, they'll go towards the humanoid book, or they'll try to go for a splat book that'll help pump it up. But the drow alone drow is the gateway drug, kids. Drow are a gateway drug.
Well, what's the one that'll hook them permanently?
Drow. Oh, you mean I get special abilities for a race that just because I change the skin color, I get to be a jerk to everybody at the table and I can say I'm in character? This is epic. I'm totally going to play this guy.
You have a point there. Then that's what I meant about power gamers. That's exactly what I meant. And, my whole thing is that, I have to take it. If someone wants to play a drow in my campaign, I take them aside for about 5 minutes. I say, look, you have to understand that even though you've got some cool abilities, and I'm putting up the air quotes, you get some cool abilities and this kind of stuff, you have to also understand that you are going to be hated by almost everybody. And you are going to have to, if the adventuring party you're with saves a princess, you're the one who's going to have to be on the outside of the kingdom or the castle, because they're not going to allow a dark elf in there. Because
what I remember.
What do you remember?
Sorry, I don't really want to. You're on a roll. Go.
No, it's okay. Say what you're going to say.
Well, no. What? As far as drow goes, didn't they have like special powers in the Underdark, and once they come above ground, they start losing them?
Yes,
that's correct.
That is absolutely
It's because of the radiation of the lichen and the radiation of the rocks of how deep that they burrowed since they got pushed underground by the elves. The dwarves said, keep on walking, and they kept walking, and the gnomes went, you better keep on walking, and they kept digging down and down and down, and Loth was down there, and she's like, what's going on? And they're like, well, I guess we'll stick with her. And they're so deep, the radiation of the rocks and the lichen supposedly is what gives them their special natural abilities, and when they leave it up to the surface for extended periods, that radiation is no longer hitting their DNA or whatever, and they lose their innate abilities.
Yeah, the one that's the strongest is the base 50% magic resistance plus 2 percentage points per level. Yeah. And yeah, that's one of the first to go. And then, they start losing other things. I mean, throughout all the novels and stuff of Drizzt, he still has a couple of abilities like Fairy Fire and a couple other ones like that. But most
Darkness, 15-foot radius, boop, ball.
And there's Full On. Welcome back.
He just came out of his darkness, 15 foot darkness.
He decided.
Cool. Yeah, that's what I was telling him. This is why you don't want to try to infiltrate the pity approach into the drow lair, posing as polymorph flumps, because they have some weird-ass sexual practices that you don't want to get involved.
And he's back, folks.
Have you been reading my diary?
You have a diary? God, how...
About Dark Elf? Never mind. Anyways, moving on.
Moving right along. We were just describing Full On, just gave the history. Corey gave the history of the drow going back into the early 80s, and I gave it going into the 90s, and Drizzt and all this other stuff. So, that's where
we totally have a nerd war about how to properly pronounce his name. I totally want to have that nerd war in front of everybody.
Who, Drizzt?
You mean Drizzt?
Oh, Drizzt. I just don't care.
I know, but I've been to many a con where I've walked away from
stinking Dark Elf.
2 sweaty neckbeards are going at it, breathing heavy, trying to have an argument over how to properly pronounce Drizzt's name. It's Drizzt! I talked to Rob on a panel in 87. All right, you know what? I'm walking away from this tape.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. No, you want to know the bigger neckbeard fight would be, some will say Drow, some will say Dro.
True.
Yeah.
That's the bigger one. Gary Gygax had to come out in a Dragon Magazine article and say it's drow, rhymes with cow. He had to actually say it because so many people were in arguments about it. But as I was saying, when it comes to Dark Elves and players who want to play Dark Elves in my campaign, have... What?
Nothing, carry on.
Wait, I can do that?
Yeah, you could have.
I think that'd be badass.
Yeah, actually, it would have been kind of cool. I'd have let you do it. I'd have let you do it.
He could have had a belt, and I could have always said it's his black belt.
Oh God, dude. Anyway, but the whole thing is that all of the goodly races despise the drow, and you are going to have to do 175%. To get a grudging amount of respect, whereas your companions, they're going to only have to just do 100. You have to go above and beyond to prove that you are not like your cousins who still live down in the Underdark, and you're going to
have to prove it on a daily, hourly, minutely basis, because they're all just sitting there saying, all right, it's part of his cunning plan. When's he going to drop the other shoe?
Exactly. And that's part of what Drizzt went through. Yeah,
meanwhile, the drunk guys in the corner are going, my brother's sister's cousin's nephew's wife told me that the town next door got attacked by a drow.
Mm-hmm. It's your fault.
Yep.
Yeah, and you're going to.
That's a long tale of why there's lots of cousins, brothers, sisters, half-drows running around.
Yep. I actually had one of my players play a half-drow, but she really liked playing tragic characters. But
that was my biggest problem with the cash cow of TSR and WotC was it turned into a emo woe is me in the beginning of every chapter. Rob, I like your writing. Don't get me wrong, but those beginning chapters of his inner monologue and inner turmoil, I swear to God, you've been watching too many soap operas because
Corey, they got a little more variety in there. Once they got golden writing as well, so they had a little variety. They've actually got like more Drow books than any other single subject they have in the entire Forgotten Realms library.
Well,
if you accumulate all of the Dark Elf War books, all of the Drow books, all of the Quest for the friggin' everything with the Dwarf books, and all of the friggin' Illustray books as a big long bundle, swear I'm going to sit it down in front of my son and make him read the entire Forgotten Realms Drow saga from beginning to end. That's going to take him the remainder of his senior year.
No, I understand it, but what I'm saying is, they made him tragic and they made him, fighting against all of society to prove how good he is. And then 4th edition comes along, and because we don't edition bash here on THACO's Hammer,
or at least
4th edition comes along and goes, oh yeah, here's a magic spell. All of the Dark Elves that don't pray to Loth are now Dark Elves, and all those who still like Loth, they're still black and they're still Drow. And because it only happened to all of the ones that were underground, poor Driz, it was on the surface and didn't get affected by the spell, so he still looks black. Oh, woe is me. And the emo continued. I was like, I am done. I can't read anymore.
Well, see, you lasted longer than I did. You lasted longer than I did. I stopped after this whole thing where he was building up the romantic interest between him and Caddy Bree, and he decided not to pay it off. Yeah. After that, I was like, no, I can't do anymore. You're a good author, Rob, but you kind of lost your way. But then again, I've kind of had
Folks,
other
while this love affair goes on.
You want to dish bash, but author bashing is free reign.
Don't get me started.
Free range Drow, yeah.
All right, so we're on the Drow show, not a Drizzt show.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, so tell us about your Drow stories at THACOsHammer@gmail.com.
Drow stories. I got a Drow story for you.
Star Gaming, purpleworm.org. I don't know what all the other sites are. Oh, yeah.
D20 Radio.
D20 Radio, Strollin' Citadel, Nutkin Land, Facebook, Twitter.
Yeah.
We're everywhere.
D20 Radio, which we're making nice with again. Anyway.
Yeah.
On to...
certain person is making nice with.
Rule 0.
One would think you've been doing this all your life.
We'll remember you said that.
I know. I'm sure you hate me just enough.
Rule 0.
Rule 0?
Nicely done.
Yeah, we're going to talk about we just talked about the history of the Drow, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Well, this is world building in history. How can you do something different with the Drow?
Well,
if you want to make a world-building situation out of it and make your own campaign and make it not the Forgotten Realms and not the Greyhawk.
Give him banana fingers.
Give him what?
I've got a way to do that.
Did you say give him banana fingers?
All right, that too.
No.
That's awesome.
I said banana feet.
I have one that I'm planning to throw at my next pack of players who have someone running around desperately insisting that they want to have a Drow campaign or play the Drow campaign or do something odd like that. I'm going to turn it on its head. See, the High Elves, the Surface Elves, are not the only ones who tried to practice lordly high elven magic, those, 10th level spells, those epic spells, those spells of artifact level type effect. I put one into my campaign. You know those books that everybody wants to read, but everybody smart burns on the spot? Yeah, you should start burning them on the spot because I have a quest chain involved in a campaign idea that I want to put in front of people that involves, we're going to have the collection of a series of pages that form together to make the epic spell of Drow Revenge. Okay. And the epic spell of Drow Revenge is going to just take the entire massive population of surface-dwelling elves that are all good and light and airy and tree-hugging, and the entire population of the short population of infighting, shrunken down, and embattled amongst each other in chaos dark elves who are punished to live beneath the surface. And of course, this is all Loth's doing because she's into the chaos of everything. And she's just going to say, hey, I want to play around with things and make a balance. I really want to make a balance. And she's going to turn it on its head. And when these people she's enticed into enacting this artifact-level ancient magic level spell, like the Ancients of Netheril type booyah we're talking about here.
Right.
It's going to take all of the surface elves and give them the hearts, minds, souls, and attitudes of the drow, and all of the Underdark elves the hearts, minds, souls, and attitude of the surface elves.
Wow.
Leaving the populations the same.
Mm-hmm. In the exact same locations, but
in the exact same locations and everything, and we're just going to give all of my trodden upon drow brethren, boom, here's all the goodies of the surface. Enjoy. Go buck wild. And then you're going to have situations where, like, Elven patrol party riding up out of Evermeet or something, coming out of the Chondlewood or something. Hey, let's go raid hi to them.
Hey, elves!
Flay you and stake you to a tree and dance around your bones or something. Mm. Meanwhile, there's these embattled scores of hardened elves living in the Underdark trying to make a living. They got their magic, they got the drow magic, they got their Underdark thing, they got the thing going. It's just they are the good elves and they're living like the rebel underground, literally underground.
That's pretty cool. I like that idea.
Yeah, that's turning something on its head.
Yeah, I've done something similar of changing the drow storyline. One of my main major city of interest in my campaign world back in the first age was nothing more than an army of humans and dwarves were chasing an army of dark elves that were currently on the surface during the first stage into an area that they sort of got surrounded by bugbears and lizardmen and hobgoblins and were set upon. And the dark elves actually turned and said, you know what, we're not going to get out of here unless we help. So they banded together and fought everything off, and the town was formed with the understanding that this town is basically for survival. Now, you're not talking your basic goodly, we're good elves, we just want to be understood. And no, they're still Varunian-style elves of, we really do want to take over the surface, but we kind of need the humans and the dwarfs to survive in this harsh area.
So you made the Berlin of Thar. Yeah,
I literally made Bartertown. It's literally Mad Max's Bartertown in the edges of a jungle where dark elves and humans and dwarves. The unspoken rule of the city is you walk in the city and you see a dwarf and an orc sitting at a table discussing things. And they're like, hey, okay, as soon as I see you outside the gate, I'll kill you. Okay, buddy, see you later. And they walk outside the gate and they'll fight. But in town, there is no racial hatred. You'll see a gnoll ordering food from like a halfling family of marketers. As soon as he leaves the village, though, as soon as he leaves the city, it's back on. But it is an understanding that the king and the queen and the royal family and the barons who were from the families of the surviving fighters make sure nothing happens in town, quote unquote, that can be noticed.
I like that you have gnolls that are actually ordering from menus. Nobody runs through to allow that. That's good. Of course.
Hobgoblins coming in and checking out the nice dwarven made
It's like you've got the pre-Eberron world.
Yeah,
it's the initial outpost that spawns Eberron almost.
It won't be that bad. It's only the city and only the city itself. But yeah, I have drow in the city. They're dark elves upon the surface who are essentially since he's written, and it's been written throughout the novels of TSR and WotC, they're pretty much Varunian dark elves, if you want to give them a nice analogy. They went on the surface because they want to take over the surface, but they know they can't do it without fodder. So, yeah, we'll play nice. We'll sit on a council. Yeah, we'll play the Game of Thrones, but we know what we're doing when the doors are closed. So, yeah, I've done it to the point where, they're accepted in this town and in the region. People see them and they're like, are you going to attack? No, you're not. You're just waving and walking by. Okay, whew, good. All right, nice seeing you, my lord. But
they're taking lessons from the drow wizards of Thay.
Yeah. I've done it also. It makes my players kind of like raise an eyebrow and go, oh, what?
Yeah, and that and more along the lines, especially when you've got players who've been playing for, let's just put a minimum at like 10 or 15 years. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta do stuff just to make them sit back and go, wait, what? Huh?
Yeah, the time I ever ran into a drow in any game, I've never used them myself, and the one time I ran into it, it was a case of fighter put foot in mouth.
Mm-hmm.
we were down in, I think, the Underdark. No, it was somewhere else. And these three drow come around the corner, one riding a drider, giant spider.
Ooh.
A giant spider.
Which is it, a drider or a spider?
Spider, giant spider.
Okay.
He was riding a giant spider, and the first thing my fighters does is, "Hey, is that Loth?"
Oh my god!
It was on.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. With me, I've been thinking about, the only thing I've done with the drow lately is I've got this like mega campaign based around the venerable B4 Lost City thing. It's all pretty much as advertised in the module, except there's an expeditionary force of drow coming up from the Underdark. And they're basically, at the end, of course, you got the big evil bad monster, the Zargon. Now, the Zargon is only half in this plane of existence, and he's trying to get fully into it.
Does his castle appear every year in different places every day at dawn?
No.
Oh, okay.
Different. But basically what happens is the drow have struck a bargain with the Zargon, and they basically want to kill and destroy everything in this pyramid and the underground city and all that.
Waking he who sleeps beneath the waves, the sleep of the eternal sleep in the city of brass.
Yeah, something like that.
Hey, I've had a drow cleric of Cthulhu in a campaign. That was awesome.
Oh god.
I can only imagine.
How do you guys build your drow? Let us know at thacoshammer@gmail.com. And onward to option package.
My personality undergoes a startling change.
You should meet me because I'm a great guy.
I like big fat men like you. When they fall, they make more noise. And sometimes they never get up.
Option package.
All right, option package. The Drow of the Underdark. One of the I call it a semi-splat book. It's not really an official splat book. It's a
reference splat.
Yeah.
I think it's a reference splat.
It's a Forgotten Realms splat book, basically.
Yep.
Yes, it is, but it can be used for any campaign.
And I hear it's quite popular.
It is number 9326 on the TSR library shelves.
And
copyrighted in 1991.
Who wrote this bad boy?
This one was written by Ed Greenwood himself.
That's why it's so popular.
Yep, I have 2 copies. But yeah, I mean, I remember
when this run out of toilet paper or something.
No. Oh. Stop that. Okay. Pardon us, pardon full on folks. He's grabbing books. I remember when this supplement first came out, and in the campaign we did have someone playing a drow fighter, and when this came out, we just started using the language towards the back of the tome and things like that. It was just fun to do because it was different. But this gives a very good overview of the drow. It's just that the story of it kind of got updated years later.
It's almost TSR's paper wiki of the drow.
Agreed.
For Faerun. It's Ed Greenwood's wiki of the Faerunian drow.
Remember, Gary came up with them and Ed refined them.
I'll agree with that. I'll certainly agree with that. It goes from, just the physical descriptions going into, level advancement, how the Driders actually come to be, which is what we'll talk about, in an upcoming segment. They talk about, the society, if you didn't read the Drizzt Do'Urden books, especially the ones of him growing up in the Underdark, this would give you a really good idea of what Dark Elf society is like.
Society. It's actually pretty fun and interesting. It does have some good twists and turns, and it was the inspiration for my Droblins thing.
Yep.
Droblins.
Yeah, Droblins. Yeah, and actually, I could see that coming to be when you described it. Most of the time, if you wanted to use an alignment for their society, it's definitely chaotic evil to reflect, their goddess.
Right.
And matriarchal, almost all females hold all the positions of responsibility, and things like that.
Pretty much.
Women want every position.
Yes. Head of yeah, okay. Wow. Dude, really?
Hey,
I don't want one position, I want all positions.
You don't go into Mealy Meg Theer without a safe word.
Exactly.
And it won't work.
Yeah, and that's the funny part. It won't work, no matter how unique it might be.
I've got adamantium underwear on. Come get me.
Charm person, take those underwear off, please.
So THACO's Hammer is the kind of show that makes its own gravy. So I just sit back and let it.
Wow. So, as it goes on to describe, how they deal with other races. Of course, they don't trust anybody, especially themselves, in their dealings. So, a typical negotiation between Drow and someone else is a mixture of hard bargaining, subtle threats, magic, mutual gain pacts, and things like that.
And who can conceal the fact of how much they're going to betray who, when, and soonest and first, and get away with it?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is, it's not so much what you do to anyone, by anyone, for anyone, because you're the Drow, you're elite, you're allowed, you're encouraged, you're supposed to, you're expected to. The secret is, until you have the power to just lord it over everyone, never get caught.
Yep, exactly. No matter what kind of dealings you may have, discretion is always the best thing to do, unless, of course, you're in such a position of power and strength that it doesn't matter. Moving right along, moving through it, of course, then they start talking about the religion. Of course, there's Lolth and Bayron, which is actually, that's an interesting deity of itself because he's always trying to bring the male half of the Drow species, if not up to an even level with the females, past them, past them, and they're always in conflict that way. But you had
a GM who had us release him once.
Oh,
he was trapped behind a thing, and we were trying to pick the magical lock on the door, and we decided we were going to do it with a wand of negation.
Nicely done.
That would do it.
So you released them.
Yeah.
Nice.
Then we had to play our campaign going on with, okay, so him being out is one necessarily a good thing. We should probably try to fix it. Even though it's great to give Loth a pain in her ass, all 4 versions of it, but... having... There are consequences.
Definitely consequences. Because you still did release an evil power.
I will add into the book here, page 87 starts my favorite chapter, which is the Drow craft work. Drow are known, and with Ed Greenwood doing this in here, of amputating and prosthetics, replacing lost limbs. They don't see a lost limb as a reason to think a male is a useless tool. Give him a metal arm and send him on his way. Females who lose their spellcasting arms are not worthless. Give them a colossus arm and send them on their way.
Yep.
And they look
or
really
a adamantium flail grafted to their forearm.
Yeah.
They just call that sexy.
I'll say.
Exactly. Yeah. They'll, of course, they have used different kinds of poisons. The sleep poison being like the one that most players are familiar with, because, once they start throwing those things using arrows and things like that and putting you to sleep, that's how they capture their slaves.
Well, the way you think about it, they're underground, they're deep underground. There's poisonous fungi, there's poisonous spiders, there's poisonous oozes, there's poisonous alien creatures. Just consider the Underdark Australia at night. Everything there wants to kill you.
Yeah, pretty much. Everything, whether it walks, crawls, slithers, flies, whatever. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's the underworld of nope.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Nope.
Exactly.
And also,
Go ahead.
No. Continue.
I was just going to say, not only did they introduce new deities such as Veyron and such as Gonadar, Gonadar and things like that, they also introduced a good drow deity, Illustrae.
Illustrae! She likes to dance! She likes to dance skyclad!
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
You find hot naked drow chicks dancing in the forest. Wait. Count to 10. Look for body parts. If you don't see body parts, you may be able to join in.
Yeah, you might.
Maybe.
I like skyclad.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
But yeah, and
naked hippie drows.
Yes. Well, not so much hippie, but yeah.
What are you talking about? They're trying to go back to the ways of the old elven ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's all about the moon and the night sky, and they're hippies.
You're right.
They're dark elf hippies. And that's cool, because you know what? This dark elf is pretty dark, no pun intended, and it's pretty evil, and she gives a nice balance to the pantheon. And I love the way in the books...
They're the neo-goth? They're the drow neo-goth?
I guess they are neo-goth, you're right. Yep.
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah.
Hey, go out at night and they have circles. What?
Yep.
Yeah, well...
They dress all in black.
I do like the way that they illustrated, I guess, or I guess they yeah, nicely done. No, the way that they did Loth and Illustrae sitting at the chessboard and each of their followers being chess pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And as they're playing chess with their I picture that and I was like, that's pretty freaking cool.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
But yeah. Also, they go, like I said, they go into the drow language, which is actually pretty cool. They give suggestions for, names, house names, things like that. And also, the drow language is actually, I liked it because when we were playing and we had that character, we just started, like I said, quoting stuff to each other in drow, which was funny. Also, the other thing is, of course, you have the different runes and the different glyphs and things like that, which are more for defense and everything like that. Then they go into a nice little chapter near the end, talking about War in the Depths being the ongoing war between the drow and the dwarves. Now, they both live underground, and the drow are always seemingly trying to invade dwarven strongholds from below. Because as we all know, the dwarves, if there's a diamond the size of your pinky fingernail in the rocks down there, they're going to go down there and they're going to try and get it out of there. We all know that.
Unless they're chased out of their stronghold by a dragon from the east. Then
then they got to go get a hat,
or a great Type 6 demon.
Yeah. That too. Exactly.
Because they dug him out.
Yeah, they dug him out because the dwarves just don't know when to stop sometimes.
They call it a mine. Anyways.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they go into a nice little description of, what happens, or not so much what happens, but what could happen in a dwarven stronghold when the dwarves dig a little too deep. And then of course the last chapters, the actual, Underdark, and we've talked about the Underdark before, where you cannot, it's like Corey said, pretty much everything that lives wants to kill you. And if they don't want to kill you, they either want to enslave you, or in the very rare circumstance, they might talk to you. They might. Depending on their...
You see if you're worth eating your brain.
Yeah.
It sees us as either a threat, a mate, or a threat, a mate, or food. It's either going to eat us, hump us, or kill us.
Yep.
The drow will do all three.
Yes, they will. Not necessarily in that order either. And the very last chapter
with silk.
Yeah, exactly. The very last chapter is just descriptions of the various Underdark monsters. Good.
It's connected there.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it is. Thank you for the save. But
Skullport.
Skullport. Yeah, exactly. They got they have different spiders. They have the Solifugids, if anyone who's familiar with with Queen of the Demon Web Pitch. Yeah, I heard you laughing, full on. I know you're familiar. Familiar with those monster modules? They'll have those monsters in there.
Elevated pulp.
Yeah, those.
Yes.
And the Yolklo.
Oh God, melted wax candles of tentacle doom.
Yeah, tentacle death, exactly. Yeah, those things are just absolutely the nastiest monsters I've ever seen, if they're run correctly.
That's right. When there's a drow war going on, I like to have them knock on the door. Land chart. Messenger. Message from Loth.
Loth has a message for you.
Yep. Land chart.
Yeah.
Like addition to the population of creepy crawly spiders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like that Timothy Bradstreet did artwork. One of my favorite comic book artists, Timothy Bradstreet, popular for the black and white Punisher covers. And Rick Harris, another good artist, did a lot of the other interior artwork. And, of course, Big Bad Jeff E. on the front cover.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Brian.
Yes, sir.
MSRP on this bad boy in the day?
This one went for $15.
A bargain at any price, but you'll get it cheaper.
Yeah, you can certainly get it cheaper.
It is available.
They made a lot of these.
Yeah, it is available. That and the Draconomicon.
Yeah. Actually, Dragonomicon's more rare, but yeah.
Yeah, I see both of them everywhere, at high price, all the time. Anyway, check them out, people. You want to tell us about it? You know where to find us, THACOshammer@gmail.com, or we got a number, too.
We do. Voicemails 405-806-0555.
Thank you, Don Pardo.
Don Pardo.
Let's go into Magic Fingers.
Eeny, meeny, chili beanie, the spirits are about to speak.
Well, it just so happens that your friend here is only mostly dead.
Sounds like a lot of supernatural baloney to me.
Supernatural, perhaps. Baloney, perhaps not.
Magic Fingers.
Magic Fingers.
I think we're there. You got another quarter? Anyway, Drow magic and their innate abilities, which we kind of touched on earlier, but we can get a little bit more nitty gritty here.
Right.
Oh, yes, we can.
We could certainly do that. We can most certainly do that. As a matter of fact, you can just go through the Complete Elves Handbook. I think is the final word on Drow abilities, because they start in the
player's options, spells and magic, or skills and powers, is the final word.
Oh, well, that's if you want to, go whole hog.
If you want, yeah.
If you want to.
It also helps you build your quarter drow.
Oh, God. Anyway, don't even get me started on that. I had
beat him with my quarter staff.
Yeah, exactly. Now, as in the Monstrous Compendium description, it says all Dark Elves receive training in magic and are able to use the following spells once per day: Dancing Lights, Fairy Fire, and Darkness. Drow above fourth level can use Levitate, Know Alignment, and Detect Magic once per day as well. Excuse me. And Drow Priestesses can also use Detect, Lie, Clairvoyance, Suggestion, Dispel Magic once per day. Now, see, you run into a 5th level Drow Priestess. Never mind that the spells that she can cast, as a cleric. She can pretty much wreck a party's day just by the spells that she has, that she can just say, it's a little too bright in here. Darkness. Oh, I'm not too sure. There's someone who claims to be an ally of ours, but I'm not quite sure about it. No alignment. Things like that.
And when you guys went over the elf racial entry, you did go over page 113, third paragraph in detail, and the fact that it fixes the problem with the number appearing.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
What's wrong with 100 appearing?
No, it's not. It says this is the thing. Okay, for those that are users of the ever popular friggin' TSR produced
Monsters Compendium?
The Core Rules CD-ROM version 2.
Yes. Oh, that's right. I forgot about this. Yes.
They just blankly wrote, they had coders just plugging in stuff from the entries and they didn't read.
They improved.
So they just didn't proofread and do nothing. So drow entry 50.
Yeah.
Appearing. Boom. All of them. Always. 50 appearing. Boom. Done.
But there's a reason behind that. Hold on. In the monstrous compendium, the monstrous compendium, when they did the drow, it said number appearing 50.
I know. And because they just kept repeating the same mistake, they never proofed it and corrected it.
I think it's supposed to be 5 to 50.
Appearing, there's a rank. It all has to fall in with, that third paragraph on the second page of the drow entry that goes into how they're broken out in a group.
Yep.
And if you get X many, you automatically get this many leaders included in that number.
Correct.
And it took me about a week and a half of rewriting the CD-ROM core rules code for making my own custom monster entry of the real drow.
Mm-hmm.
As in, the other problem was that they always came out with like lawful good alignments because they were only using elf template with number appearing 50.
Dumbasses.
So you get 50 names, and they're all lawful good, neutral good, chaotic good.
Yeah, which is not quite.
Which not true. It's like, no, not happening.
Drizzt, and Drizzt. You've met 50 THACOs.
Now you're going to get a Goblins flashback to the friggin' the drow party from the Goblins comic.
Yeah.
This thing, when you actually run the numbers on it, it turns mean and nasty. And conveniently, I have available for those that are still users of the Core Rules CD-ROM 2.0 version in the library on the OSR Gaming website. I've got a download pack of the corrected drow that you can unzip, unpack, and install into your install of the game, and be able to pull up a true drow encounter, a wilderness encounter, or a city encounter, with the right levels, with the right alignments, with the additional NPCs that will be in the group that are classed.
Download it and use it, we command you.
Yes.
And your players will run in fear.
Yes, they
like
will.
They should.
Well, of course. Well, yeah, anything you put out, yeah, they should. Now, going back to their abilities, of course, like I've said before, their magic resistance is the bigger one. They start with 50%, and they get 2% per each level of experience in the classes they have. Of course, with multi-class, the highest class is the right number for magic resistance. They also get a bonus of +2 against all forms of magical attack. And so even if you get past their magic resistance, there's a halfway decent chance they're going to make their saves. So, they're really difficult, but like I said, their weakness is bright light. Pack a lot of light spells if you're going up against drow. Go ahead, Corey.
Male or female, they're impregnated with magic.
Imbued, let's say.
All right.
Impregnated suggests something else.
I know, that's why I use it. Come on. I'm the color commentary.
You're no fun anymore.
Oh, I know. I'm not fun. I'm just a big. No, never mind. Go on, Corey.
No, I was just saying that they're very magical creatures due to the radiation and things underground that imbued them with magic ability.
Yes.
That the resistance is high.
Yes. And, and that's the big problem. I mean, I'll just go back to when I was playing, when I first ran into drow. Yeah, Curse the Azure Bonds, the old gold box game.
Wow.
That's when you first run into drow. Yeah, I'll reference it. Why the hell not?
Yeah, no, you just brought back some flashbacks to me. I was like, whoa, I remember that game.
And yeah, I'd say probably about 2/5 of the way through the game, you start running into drow parties. Now,
lots of drow parties.
Yeah, lots of them. Oh, God. Yeah, wandering bands of drow. Just drow.
Wandering bands of 100 drow. Wizard cast a spell. Drow saves. Drow makes magic resistance. Drow makes magic resistance.
And the thing is that when, of course, when you're up against multiple enemies and they're fairly strong, in that game, usually relied pretty heavily on area effect damaging spells like Fireball, Lightning Bolt, Ice Storm. If you really were feeling lucky, Cone of Cold, things like that.
Storming the chasm.
Yeah. And the thing is that when you cast those spells and you were especially if there was like a drow cleric casting a spell or a drow mage casting a spell and you got that spell off first and it went off and they made their magic resistance save, And you would start cursing because you knew a fireball spell was coming right back at your party, and it's things like that. But yeah, it's like Full On said, when it comes down to when you encounter them randomly, yeah, they can really be a pain in the behind. Just in a combat way, if you run them intelligently and you're supposed to.
Yep.
Yeah, a party of, let's say, about 8 to 10 drow with even just one mage as magical backup, they can cause all kinds of headaches for an adventuring party. From a low level party will probably be killed.
Yeah, my most recent TPK was because of a drow party.
Mm-hmm.
That's when they decided, hey, we're not going to sneak through the Bugbear Tower. We're going to go through that sewer entrance 5 levels below the tower. We'll be safe in there. So we're on the 5th level of the dungeon. The DM will never put anything down here that'll hurt us because we're not high enough level yet. So you walk around the corner and open the door. What's there? A group of 6 drow, one of them female, 2 mages. Wait, no, we can't fight this for too low level. What'd you go through the sewer for?
Start running fast. Start running real fast. Here's a thought. Go to the light.
It ended.
It's going to be the answer for everybody in the party, one way or the other.
Yeah, okay.
It's the elf in the party, Retributive, striking his magic staff, I believe, and bringing down the ceiling. And the rest of the party was laying dead or dying at his feet. One guy escaped, went back to town in a shivering mass, talking about evil elves. So, yeah.
Nice. Well, boy, oh boy, you guys. You're just laying on, Corey, don't you?
I like to.
And another thing that drow make fun for the encounter is the fact that basically you never, ever, 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 ever encounter the monster manual entry of elf drow with just hit dice. No, you always encounter a minimum of 2nd level fighter and up. Because the best thing, the worst thing, the most wonderful thing to ever throw against a player character party of player characters is classed NPCs.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It will always be that way.
I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
I hear.
And what your top end encounter of drow, if you happen to roll high on that 5d10 of encounters be? See. If there's more than 10, there will be a fighter mage of at least 3rd level in each class leading them. If 20 are encountered, in addition to the higher level fighter mage, there's a fighter priest of at least 6th level in both classes. If there are more than 30, up to 50% are priests, and the leader is at least a 7th level fighter, 8th level priest.
How soon do you get to Darth Vader?
Or an assistant. In addition to all the other high level leaders.
Yeah, the danger level scales up very, very quickly with the increased numbers. Yeah, it's bad news.
I can just imagine a party delving underground and like this whole giant army of dark elves about to attack and siege a dwarven stronghold, and the human party just like stumbles past them like, oh crap.
What do you do?
Meat's back on the menu, boy.
Tell us all about it, folks, at THACOshammer@gmail.com. That boggles the mind, actually. But yeah, well, that's the drow in a nutshell, folks, and we're going to be closing this splat book. Yes, sir.
This is a drow in a nutshell. I'm in a nutshell. Somebody cast Globe of Darkness. Anyways.
See, that's how you sneak them into places with lots of shrink spells in a nutshell.
All right, say goodbye, Paul.
Have a good time, Gamer Nation. We will see you again.
Brian?
In the dark.
In the dark. Oh, gosh. Brian?
And remember, folks, you gotta, if you're going to rely on your magic, you better make sure it's light spells. And even then, they might not work. Remember that.
Corey, hit it.
Dark elves are evil. And if he's on the surface by himself hugging his kitty cat, just stab him anyway. See.
Oh man!
You'll hear the grateful cheer of many DMs.
Hey, I had dual wielding dark elf PCs long before those books ever came out. Thank you very much.
So I don't think I want to see those. That's scary. I'm DM Glenn saying we'll see you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer. Bye-bye. Okay, maybe I
Dark
should.
Elves.
Ranger Thief and Ranger Mage. Ha.
Tripod.
There you go. I have a Dark Elf tripod.
Oh, that's enough of that.
THACO's Hammer theme is provided by the Diablo Swing Orchestra. You'll find them on Jamendo.com. All other additional music for this episode was provided by Kevin MacLeod. You'll find more of his music on Incompetech.com. Be sure to visit our website at thacoshammer.info. If you have any questions or comments, email us at thacoshammer@gmail.com. Remember, that's an O, not a 0. You can also find us on the second edition forums at osrgaming.org and at purpleworm.org. Or give us a call and leave us a voicemail at 405-806-0555. See you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer.